Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a distribution, and we are going to use the example of a dice. That means we are going to show 1000 times, and the number can be 1 as a minimum and 6 as a maximum. We are going to analyze the results to see how they are in a table, and therefore we use a function called COUNTIF, a function called frequency, and we are going to use a pivot table. Finally, we are going to graph the results. Alright, let's go on. First, we need 1000 numbers. So we press in 1, then 2, and one option would be to scroll this all the way down to 1000. But we don't want that. There's another way to do this. Click in this cell A3, then in the Home, then in Fill, and we fill 6. The series are in a column, linear, the step value is 1 and the stop value is 1000. Click OK, and immediately a list of 1000 numbers appear. Click on End down to see the last number, and that's correct, is 1000. End up, and we're back in business again. Alright, now we're going to use a formula, random between 1 and 6. Let's first fill in the formula, equals rand between. What does it do? Gives a random number between the numbers you specify. Tab. The bottom means the minimum value is a 1 and it is included, and the maximum value, that's called the top, in this case is 6, also included. Enter. If we copy just a few down, then we see that in the first row we throw a 2, then a 1, then a 4 and a 6. If we press F9, it will recalculate, and you see that the numbers change. Alright, now let's do this for all the numbers for the 1000 rows. Double click and send it down, and there are the numbers. So, is this fair? What is the distribution about these numbers? Alright, if I click on this column B, then I can see some values here. If you don't have all these numbers, click with your right mouse button and tick mark a statistical value you want to have. What you can see here is that numerical count is 1000, that means there are 1000 numbers, and count means 1001. That is the one cell with only text in it, so it's also included. We also see that the minimum value is 1 and the maximum value is 6. So let's make a table of it. The possible number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we are going to calculate how many. Alright, how are we going to do this? With a formula. We count how often this number 1 is in this column B. That's done with the function called COUNTIF. Equals COUNTIF. Counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. Alright. Tab. The range, I can select B3 till B1000 and something more, but I also can select the whole column. It will not include the B1 text cell, so that's no problem. Alright, the criteria here is 1. Bracket close, enter, and then I can copy this down. So, in my calculation, the number 1 is 155 and the number 6 appeared 172. Now let's see how many that total. Alt equal to sum it up, enter, and then we see that the total here is 1000. And that seems correct. Alright, we can show this relative or as a percentage, the way you express this. Okay, equals 172 divided by 1000. We fix it with F4 to lock it, and then we copy it down. Now, this is a relative number. If we add this up, Alt equal, then the result will be 1. Now we can also show this, of course, as a percentage, and that's what we're going to do now with 1 decimal. And if we add this up, Alt equal, then we see that this is 100%. So this is the way it is divided. What should we expect? Well, we should expect actually 1/6 of every possibility. So what is the theoretical value? Theoretical that is equals 1 divided by 6. Now we can put that as a percentage as well. And we copy this down. Check again, Alt equal. And of course 100%. So this is the result from our simulation, and this is the theoretical result. If you press F9, you get different results. So every time column B, if you press F9, column B is calculated again. Alright, what's the next step? Well, let's graph of it. So select this range and make a graph of it. Insert a graph. What kind of graph? We choose a clustered column graph. Okay. Now we don't need these numbers here. They do not belong here. So these are the numbers we don't need. Series. And we are going to do a right mouse button, format data series. And what we're going to do is the get white, we're going to decrease it a bit so we have a more decent graph. Now for the chart title, there is an option. Click in the formula bar, equals, and then you can select a cell, confirm, and this is the formula for our function. Alright, if you see this now, then you see that this starts with 150, and this is what we want. So we double click on it. In text access options, we choose as minimum value of 1 and a maximum value of 250. Alright, now what happens if we press F9? Well, let's do it. Press F9 and you see that the values changes, and so does the graph. But in the end you can confirm that it is very near to the 16.7% for every part. Alright, let's move it aside a bit. Close this. And let's continue with another way of calculating it with the formula frequency. I copy this, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, and again I ask how many. And now I'm going to use another function, a frequency function. The frequency function is entered a bit different. First you select the whole range where you want the formula. So instead of pressing a formula and then copy it down, you first have to select this range. Then you type in, and you can see this in the formula, equals frequency, creates how often values occur within a range of values, and then returns a vertical array of numbers having one more element than bin's arrays. Now what does that mean? We select a date array, that's the column where the dates are. I can select column B at once, and the bin range array is the six numbers. Bracket close, and then do not press enter, but press Ctrl-Shift with your left hand and with your right hand enter. Ctrl-Shift-Enter, and then immediately all these data are here, and you can see that they are the same in the COUNTIF function as in the frequency function. You can see the squared brackets, and that means that this is a so-called Ctrl-Shift-Enter function, or a matrix or an array function. If I press F9 again, then you see that the value changes in both functions. The next one is that I'm going to use a pivot table in order to display the values of it. I select now column B, insert a pivot table. This is the range, an existing worksheet, and the location is here. Now, this is the only column, so these are in the rows 1 to 6, and I see that there also has a blank in it because he chooses the whole number, so I delete the blanks, and then I select rand between, again, values. Since these are values, they will always be summed up. That's not what we want. We want them to count. So how do we count them? Right mouse button, and then show values, summarize values as count. And what you can see here is that these numbers also add up 1000, but there is one difference. When I press F9, the formulas update, but the pivot table does not. The pivot table is rather static. The only way to refresh it is to click on the pivot table, right mouse button and click on refresh. Alright, to summarize, what do we see? We generated data with the function random between. Then we made an analysis of it, how often these numbers occurred in this list. And we used first the formula COUNTIF. And later we used a matrix frequency, which resulted in the same figures. And finally we made the same analysis with a traditional table. In order to visualize it, we made a graph and it was a clustered column. Alright, I hope you liked this video, and we are going to make another video about other distributions as well. Thank you.